Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time to review Nirvana the band, the show, the movie. This is directed by Matt Johnson, who was the director of Blackberry, but before then had a web series which later became a TV show, Nirvana the band, the show.
I don't think you need to see the show before watching this, but the web series is directly referenced many times in this, and though it's not going to ruin your viewing experience, I think it's helpful to at least know that Jamie Carroll and Matt Johnson had this web series in 2008, and you can just get to know kind of the shtick, where Matt Johnson just gets on a whiteboard and comes up with crazy ideas for how to play at the Rivoli, which is just a local Toronto music venue, and they have the same exact objective in this film. And really what I found was this had all of the humor that the web series had, but it was so much more that I did not expect. I mean, this was hilarious. Like, yes, it was, but it worked on so many more levels than just being a straight up comedy. This was exhilarating, shocking, awe-inspiring, and also very charming and heartfelt.
As within the show, Matt and Jay like to run around on the streets of Toronto and perform stunts of sorts. They get real reactions from real people, sometimes interacting with the public, and they also get up to a bunch of shenanigans where they somehow avoid getting arrested.
Yeah, often they're shooting in public, but nobody around seems to know that they're filming something. And part of what makes this movie amazing is being aware that they were able to pull off some of the shenanigans that they pull off.
It seems like they've mastered their own sort of craft here of doing these crazy stunts and pulling off ridiculous things. And in this film, they just blow that up.
They pretty much do the craziest thing you would imagine they would do.
Yeah, you can see that they're going big for the feature film.
They definitely made an effort to make this feel like a feature film that you would go to see in theaters, which is, again, not something I would necessarily expect from this kind of film. Of course, they could have just stuck to like a feature-length version of the web series, but this felt cinematic. This felt enormous, almost like, maybe Tom Cruise could have been the star of this for all you know. And really, you won't believe it until you see it. And so I'm not going to tell you what happens in the film, but this was one of the most memorable cinematic experiences that I will have this year and beyond. I think even more than laughing, I was just watching in wonder with how clever this film is and how perfectly woven the plot becomes. I also thought they just came up with a really solid story. Even if this were just shot like a regular film, which of course that would have deflated it, I still think you'd have the bones of a really strong film with an engaging plot and characters that you really care about. And at the heart of this, it feels like an ode and a tribute to their friendship and to that thing that they created in their apartment decades ago, which seems to have blossomed into its own thing. Like this just very organic creation that was a result of their friendship and of their shared sense of humor.
This lightning in a bottle of sorts. I thought that the improvisational humor in here was hilarious. This movie walks an interesting line between doing things on the fly and leaving room for improvisation, and also having to be extremely meticulous about getting certain bits. And there's a lot of coordination here. Like a lot of the stunts that they pull off, you don't know how they did them, and they just feel like magic tricks while you're watching the movie. And that's actually part of the fun here, is going, oh, how did they do this and how did they do that? And the whole thing is just made even more miraculous by this guerrilla style filmmaking that they do, knowing that they don't have a high production budget on this one. There's something kind of lo-fi about the way it's shot. There's a great spirit of filmmaking in here, a very different kind of filmmaking. And it's the culmination of just this very unique style that they built up for like 15 years or something. And only they can do.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this in theaters again and bring some friends to go with me. I can't think of a single person I would not recommend this to. I don't know what kind of curmudgeon you'd have to be to not enjoy this. It is pretty astounding.
And don't worry if you haven't seen the show. Like, go watch an episode or two, familiarize yourself. I've only seen a couple episodes, but watch the movie anyway when it comes out. I believe it is coming out in February.
Yeah, I would recommend checking out the web series because it's hilarious. It's also free to stream online on their website. It's not that hard to find. Get a feel for their humor, enjoy the web series, and then go into this one. I think that's an even better way to do it, but even if you don't, this is still gonna blow you away.
Yeah, I guess my final note is that the heart really was there with this one, and in like an understated way, it was heartfelt. Like the way that it speaks to their long collaboration and their friendship on screen and off screen. This was a real hoot, and it would be wonderful if people were able to watch this with a big, big crowd, as I did. And my goodness, when I stayed for that Q&A, I figured out that the production was even more of a staggeringly difficult task in places that I could both tell it was difficult and places where I didn't even think twice about it. And maybe I will appreciate those things even more on a second viewing. I really loved everything about this, and I think I would go just up to a 9 out of 10 on this.
I give this unforgettable film a 9 out of 10.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
What would you do to get into the Rivoli?